So, everything's going faster. We travel faster, we communicate faster, we make things faster, and our transactions are faster. With each advance, human capability increases, and the next second, so do our expectations. We now have the capacity to understand in minutes what it took our ancestors weeks to comprehend. Lowell Cattler, a noted professor at New Mexico University, says that the rate of change of the United States is such that there is new high technology produced in the marketplace every 17 seconds. Here's the rub, though. The one thing that hasn't changed is the speed of our thinking. Let me illustrate. Firstly, the speed at which we process pictures is limited. Since the 1920s, films have always been made with 24 frames a second because anything slower would flicker. Now here's an experiment for you. Move your hand in front of your eyes slowly. Do you notice that it flickers? Now speed it up until it blurs. What about the speed of conscious thought? Conscious awareness comes in flashes. It's not a continuous process. Sir Roger Penrose, an eminent mathematician and physicist, measured that the average person receives about 40 conscious moments per second. Now, high-performing athletes work to a faster level. For example, Joe Namath shared that when he was at a peak moment during the game, everything seemed to slow down. And when he was scoring a touchdown and there were literally thousands of people applauding, he saw everything in slow motion and total silence. There was no sound. And the conclusion is he might have gone from, say, 40 conscious moments a second to 100 at that moment. So the situation we now have is that computers process millions of transactions per second, social media communications are nearly instantaneous, but our rational minds only operate at 40 thoughts per second. Today, it's not uncommon for a corporate executive to receive 300 emails per day, and when you are bombarded with more messages and more information than you can possibly respond to, it can get very stressful. In fact, email has been identified as one of the top 10 causes of stress in the workplace, and is having a serious impact on society. Not surprisingly, the rate of increase of stress in the world, which is tracked by the World Health Organization, took a distinct leap after 1999. So, processing speed of the rational mind is 40 flashes a second, and when acceleration of daily events with their expected demands are faster than our rational minds can process, the result is increasing stress, which easily leads to fearful thinking. The good news is that this pattern of thinking can be broken. There's growing experimental evidence that intuition can access needed information at extraordinary speeds, virtually instantaneous. Anecdotally, there are many stories of people who attribute either their success or their avoidance of disaster to an intuitive insight. The intuitive mind can easily keep up with the speed of change and guide us to inspired thinking. An inspiring illustration of the speed of intuition is presented by American author and mystic Carolyn Mace in this brief video clip. Intuition at the speed of the soul. It has a wonderful ring to it.
Personality is your soul or your spirit operating at the speed of time. The consciousness of your spirit in slow motion, operating at the speed of time. So if you can't take the speed of your soul, which is the speed of intuition, you have to have it at the speed of personality, which is the speed of physical time.
Intuition at the speed of the soul. It has a wonderful ring to it. So if accessing intuition is the key to intelligent action in times of tumultuous change, how do we cultivate it? And it's easier than you may think. Scientists have now established that intuition is actually initiated by the heart rather than the brain. Over the last 20 years, there's been a lot of exciting research into this by the Institute of HeartMath. While we all know that our heartbeat increases when we're tense, the breakthrough for HeartMath was that the variability between each individual heartbeat changed significantly under tension, and this discordant information was being sent to the brain, which dramatically altered a person's mood. For example, with a person feeling frustration, a graph of the variability between the heartbeats is erratic and sends distorted information to the brain, like a harsh discordant sound. However, Variability measurements taken with great healers, Dalai Lama monks and inspirational leaders all produced a smooth, coherent pattern, like a peaceful, harmonious sound. Although there are many anecdotal records demonstrating the speed of intuition, many have difficulty believing in the validity of these claims. So next I will describe just one example of a truly extraordinary scientific experiment conducted by HeartMath. The experiment involved 26 participants who viewed a series of pictures presented at random. On pressing a button, a picture appeared on the screen, but only after a delay of 6 seconds, and it lasted for 3 seconds before the screen went blank. Each participant viewed 90 different pictures, which could be either calm nature scenes or pictures that aroused emotional feelings. With this combination, there were over 2,000 trials, making it a very rigorous experiment. So walking through the procedure, the participant presses the button and a random picture appears 6 seconds later. In this case, it's a calm, peaceful picture. The scientists are measuring the change in heart rate variability after the button is pressed. It might help using sound as an analogy. Before the button is pressed, the sound might be like this. As the variability goes negative, the sound distorts with some lower frequencies. And if the variation goes positive, the sound distorts with some higher frequencies. So the graph of the average change in variability for all the calm trials came out as shown, and this became the reference line. However, when emotional pictures were shown, the average graph of the variability went way down from the reference graph. In fact, it started deviating from the reference graph 4.5 seconds before the picture appeared on the screen. Now, because these pictures are based on an average of over 2,000 trials, the odds of this happening by chance alone is over 1,000 to 1. This experiment alone is a pretty compelling illustration that we humans have the capability of tapping into the power of our heart-based intuition to guide our decisions. In the days ahead, how you feel about a decision is going to be far more critical than any logical analysis coming from the rational mind, and we need to do it on a daily basis. This difference is best expressed by Dr. Roland McCratty of HeartMath.
And what we found was that when we're feeling positive emotions, like we're really appreciating the sunset, or really feeling love or compassion or care for someone, that the heart beats out a very different message.
A peaceful message which gives us easy access to intuition. So here we have 3 conclusions. Positive thoughts evoke peaceful feelings, and we can cultivate these emotions in the heart. A peaceful state invites intuitive insights, which are more relevant to cope with the acceleration of events. Intuitive insights are virtually instantaneous and operate at the speed of events. So I leave you with this thought. The evolution reflected by the Mayan calendar heralds mankind's awakening to enlightened consciousness, and how compassionate hearts can lead to a world of peace and harmony.